previously on Balls.
Some of the big news is the absence of Pierce Spies Blades in that side. He obviously injured his ring finger. Someone said that I don't know where I read it, but they said he took pull finger a little too literally, and so now he's sitting with the problem there. But I don't know. Nicholas de Vos wants to know: are rugby players getting softer? Spies out with a broken finger, but in the '95 World Cup, Joost played with a broken rib, and Hubert with a broken hand. So are rugby players getting softer?
No, I don't think so. I think rugby players just tend to look after their careers a little bit more seriously because they are making a lot more money. And I do know, that golfers, if a golfer gets a tweak in his back and or a problem with his elbow, that they're very, very serious about getting treatment for it and not overextending themselves and perhaps pulling out of a tournament or two, because if that back worsens or the elbow worsens, then their career becomes in jeopardy. So I think that the players, maybe it is a situation that players will pull out a little bit more easily from playing certain games because they're nursing their careers, because there's huge financial advantage to do so.
Well, while you were saying that, one name jumped into my head immediately was Skalk Burger, who, I was like, I can't even remember the last time I saw him on a rugby field. Do you think that his best days are behind him?
No, well, that's a very difficult question because apparently Skalk Burger's injured knee has not healed and is not getting any better. Perhaps you can liken Skalk Burger to Heinrich Brousseau. Heinrich Brousseau injured his knee and I think possibly came back a little bit too early. Once again, you're looking at making an income and the tendency to come back to it. I know possibly contradicting myself here, but the tendency to come back too early may be a problem as well. Heinrich Brousseau and Skalk Burger, two of those players who play at 100 miles an hour, and Heinrich Brousseau I don't think will be the same again, and I'm very, very sad to say that. Skalk Burger hopefully will be able to get over his knee injury because they're very different type of players. And Heinrich Brousseau is a guy who's not the biggest guy in the world and really has to play his weight. So he's got to be very, very physical in everything that he does on a rugby field. And I think now, by all accounts, he's had 4 operations to that knee, and it breaks my heart to say it, but I think he won't be the same player again.
You look at the season now, and you look at what these guys have to go through. This year we saw a Super Rugby Championship that was shortened. Last year. But you've got a season that has a small break. In between Super Rugby there's a bit of a gap. Then Currie Cup starts and they play Currie Cup. And then the Castle Rugby Championship, the Quad Nations now, begins. And then at the end of the year you've got overseas tours. So are the guys playing too much rugby?
They probably are, but I put the question to Victor Matfield, who said, if we want to be paid as much as we paid, we've got to play. And it's a catch-22 situation. I think the guys, I can remember when I played rugby. I played in one season, in the 1970 season. I think I played about 47 games, but there was not the same pressure and not the same physical contact. We used to run away from contact. These guys
run into
contact. No, but I think that there wasn't the same mental pressure. You had the club games that you would win by 50 points and that type of thing, and not nearly as many big games. And there wasn't the pressure of television, and every time you move, people are watching and praising and criticizing, that sort of thing. But Victor did say, if we want to earn $1 million+ rand a year, we have to play rugby, and that's the bottom line.
Oh, sorry, I thought you had a question.
No, sorry, I was just thinking about 47 games in one season.
Someone asking on Twitter over here, what is the hardest game that you've had to commentate? I think it was Gary Gary asked that?
Well, obviously, Gary, the pronunciation of names comes into it, and I can tell you it's harder to commentate a Craven Week game than it is to commentate a Super 15 game. From a point of view of identifying the players, some Craven Week games we get the players, the team sheets 10 minutes before kickoff. So you're doing quite a lot of flanneling and that sort of thing. I did have to commentate Samoa against Georgia in the 2003 World Cup. And Samoa had a left wing by the name of Tani Thakibal, and the Georgian fullback's name was Khekhelashvili. And at one stage,
to your credit, you've remembered them.
In the one stage in the game, in fact, Tani Thakibal got the ball and he was in the open against Khekhelashvili. And I think Tani Thakibal actually ran past. He went inside, outside Khekhelashvili. And I reckon by the time I got the two names out, they'd probably taken the conversion.
But that's quite hectic.
The worst game, I can tell you the worst game, and Corne Kricher, I actually spoke at old Paul Boys at the Paul Boys, Old Boys Bragg, before the Paul Gym game Friday ago at the Paul City Hall. And Corne Kricher was on stage with me, and somebody said to me, "What's the worst game you've ever commentated?" And the worst game I've ever done from being there and the whole emotion of the thing was losing 53-3 to England at Twickenham. And it sort of came out, and I suddenly realized that Corne Kricher had been the captain of that side. So I didn't say anything about it at the time, but he came up to me and he patted me on the shoulder. He said, "I'm sorry I gave you your worst moment in rugby commentary."
Yeah, imagine having to be in
I
that game.
did say, well, Corne, it was only one game.
And I think I know the answer to this, but the best game that you've ever commentated?
World Cup final 2007.
I think, did you cry when we won?
At the end of it. From emotion, yeah. I mean, I didn't blub. But Garth Wright was my co-commentator, and we finished, and I think I said something like, these sportsmen will go down in the annals of South African sporting history. And very shortly thereafter went back to studio, and I put my head in my hands. I think from all the tension and the fact that I had never commentated my country winning the World Cup, I put my head in my hands, and tears just start rolling down my cheeks, and Garth Wright, I think he thought I'd had a heart attack. He was so concerned about it. He sort of put his arm around me and said, "It's okay," and "Are you all right?" and the whole thing. But I was fine. I mean, I was just shedding a little tear of joy.
I've read your, because I do my research into my characters. I read your was it an autobiography? No, you didn't write it, hey?
I did.
Well,
big mistake.
Blades, I'm available in all good bookstores.
I don't think it is anymore, actually.
No, I picked up a copy at the second-hand bookstore.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's nice. Somebody didn't want it.
They paid me to take it. No, it was a good read. But it for those that don't know, tell us how you got into commentary. And it began with those words, "I'm available."
No, well, I mean, I don't want to sit here and blab away all afternoon about how I got into commentary and that type of thing. But I have used this and I don't get asked to do motivational talks that often, but I find motivation a very interesting subject, and I have been asked to talk at graduation ceremonies and that sort of thing, and I always say, how it started was that Chick Henderson was the chairman of the Wanderers Rugby Club, and I happened to be the captain of the Wanderers Rugby Club, and we had a committee meeting, and Chick Henderson said, "It's our annual dinner in October or whenever it was," and he said, "We need an MC," and everybody looked at everybody else, and I said, "Okay, I'm available." And if you spend your whole life never saying that, "Okay, I'm available," what are you going to be? You're just going to meander around the foothills of nowhere.
Hugh, has that phrase ever backfired on you at all?
What, I'm available? Well, I've never been so lucky.
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on balls.co.za. Balls.co.za.